about you is that you have ambition to be great. My job is to coach you to get all that greatness out of you.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through tonight on this Thursday evening, April 7th. I just finished recording with the homies, Mr. Ballgame and Richmond Webb. We just recorded the 66th episode of The Finish Line, which matters to me because I grew up a Mario Lemieux fan, 66. So yeah, that'll be coming tomorrow. Should be. Shout out to Robert for becoming a new channel member. Thank you very much, Robert. And I believe we had a donation earlier. Let me see if I can find it here. If I go back, I want to get that out of the way before I open up a donation from Kyle for $1.99. Appreciate you, Kyle. Thank you for donating to the channel, guys. Been kind of a whirlwind day, a little bit. Phone was blowing up all day over the Deebo stuff. And I'm going to talk about it because, I checked in on it. I mean, there's, I didn't post it to Patreon, but there is some information regarding it that I do have to talk about. And I do want to say this, and, I've said this consistently, and I'll say it again as it was reinforced. Deebo Samuel wants to be a Miami Dolphin. So we're going to talk about that. On top of the Deebo Samuel stuff, I want to talk about the Brian Flores, the Memo stuff, the significance of that. And it kind of does segue from the Deebo Samuel and ties in with the Deebo Samuel. So we'll discuss that because I do think it is quite significant. On top of that, we got my running back 6 on my big board is coming in tomorrow for a visit. So I want to talk about that. Even though I don't think he might be there at 102. Again, more rumblings on Tom Brady. The Dolphins re-signed a key depth piece, I believe. We'll talk about that. And again, another player throws shade at Brian Flores and is a certain defensive star potentially switching numbers because a lot of people might have this guy's jersey already. We'll talk about all that. And overall, I just hope everyone's having a fantastic week as tomorrow is Friday. Um, you know, it's been kind of a crazy last couple weeks with the Tyreek move, the Taron Armstead. Now DVP is apparently Randy Moss 2.0, according to the media and whoever you want to listen to. And you got these Brian Flores allegations not going away. A couple former head coaches have also joined his case today too. So there's just a ton going on right now in what was supposed to be kind of a dead time and a slow time for the Miami Dolphins. But guys, if you are new to the channel, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. If you'd like to donate, simple paypal.me/Phinside. You also become a channel member, a Patreon member. And hey, just smashing that like button, just watching the videos, sharing them, that's enough for me, man. So anyone else who goes any further, I appreciate you, and I'm humbled by your willingness to appreciate the content to the point that you're willing, to donate some of your hard-earned money. I appreciate all of you, all my patrons and everyone. With my rebrand that is coming in the next couple of weeks, people seem to forget the rebrand is coming. Things are coming together. This thing is going to be flyer than a piece of paper bearing my name. I'm telling you. So with that coming, I'm gonna have a special little screen layover that's gonna be for all of my patrons, my channel members, etc. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for showing up. I see you all coming in. Rome Grays here, Green Rat, Hammer CD, Darth Vader, Scotty Joe, and Green Rat coming with some smart. Don't ever buy a player's current jersey. Jason, Topher, Kenneth, Taryn, Geo, Rick Rolled. That's amazing. Marino's Goat, Juan, David, Chad, everyone coming in. Stevie, AJ, thank you. Tony, just smash that like button on the way in, guys. Help us out here. King Z, everyone. Ricketic, been a minute, homie. Hope you're doing good. And guys, we're on our way to 10K. Let's get there before the season starts. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. And as usual, next week we'll be coming with that center big board for y'all. And I can only imagine what's going to happen over the next week because, I know right now the Dolphins' current cap situation next year, we don't have a ton of money. So there's a realistic chance that we're going to roll over money. But you got to remember, they've already showed their hand. Byron Jones is not going to be a Miami Dolphin next year. And I've already put out the idea that maybe if they do keep their picks intact and Tua does show he is a franchise guy this year and he's, continuing the investment in him moving forward is the direction this team is going to take, which I think we all think should be the outcome with everything that's been built and the staff that he's been given. Um, you know, Maybe the move next year, if they got their picks intact, go get the top blue chip corner prospect and move off of Xavien Howard, whomever that corner prospect may be for your scheme and your preference. But maybe that is the plan next year, because they obviously think Boston Jackson's going to work out a right tackle. You know what I mean? So what up, Darth Logan? Shout out to Scott for the $10 super sticker. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, Ringo's a beast, Rome. The corner class next year is actually pretty stacked. From from the stuff like the early look I've gone into the corner class next year, it's pretty stacked. It's pretty stacked because they're moving off Byron Jones. They're moving off Byron Jones. Sorry, I did I say move off X? They're moving off Byron Jones. My bad. I apologize. They showed their hand that they're going to move off Byron Jones and JC Jackson. Clearly, by them wanting to bring in JC Jackson, that said that Noah Igbenogany isn't the plan stepping in. You know what I mean? I think they're going to move. The plan was to move forward with X and move off of Byron. That was clearly the idea, and I think it's just going to. That's why he had that little cleanup surgery, Byron, to guarantee his money and put them in position that he's hard to move off of. He played the game. He didn't let the game play him. Kudos to you, Byron. All you did was buy yourself one more year in Miami because you're gone next year. So I think next year you go out and you draft. You move up because what's the top? Think about it. Let's put it this way. So let's just do the average over 5 years. I'm not going to get into the specific year, but the average over every 5 years is 18 million for Xavien Howard when you spread out the 90 million over 5 years. Okay, so I'm not counting the 25 million a year on the back end, etc. Just 18 million a year. If you were to draft a guy in like the top 5 at the corner position, which I wouldn't recommend in the beginning, like top 10, cool, but top 5, this guy's, I love Ringo, but not that high. What are you going to pay this guy? 4 or 5 million a year, 6 million in the option year. Sorry, 6 million in the 4th year, and then what? Like 10 million in the option year. So what are you going to be paying your corners? 24 million between the two of them. Let's round up. That's significantly down from this year, I believe. Byron's worth like 14 point something, and X this year's hit is like 16.9 or something. So, I mean, that's 31 million between the two of them. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I see that working out. Go get the top, go get the top corner prospect instead of paying someone to move off them, and that money can go right to Deebo. But I still say they're going to sprinkle Deebo because I'm going to tell you this right now. Listen, we'll get into the Deebo stuff right now. But I'm going to start this Deebo stuff off by telling you this, what I've been saying for weeks, and I'll say it again. If the Miami Dolphins do not trade for Deebo Samuel this season, he will be a Miami Dolphin next offseason. But reason, they don't have much cap. Well, they're going to get Byron's money off the books, and all they're going to do is sprinkle the money on the back end of the contract. And the reason why, I'm telling you the reason why they're going to go for Deebo. The long-term thing is, listen, what have I told y'all? Go look at Tyreek's numbers. In 2026, Tyreek Hill makes $50.1 million. He's not in the plan. So what does that tell us? 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. Those 4 years are the years to win. By the end of those 4 years, Tyreek will be going on 33. By the end of those 4 years, Jalen Waddle and Deebo Samuel will be like 27 and 28. They will be entering the prime of their years. Because we're getting Tyreek in his prime. People don't forget this. Right now, Tyreek's in his prime. Those guys will be entering their prime. That's what the issue is. That's why this is going to happen. And I'm going to put this out. I'm the only one who's been saying it, and I'll tell all y'all again here. Listen to me and what I say to you right now. And I want to respond. One of the rare times I want a response in the comments. I am going to ask all of you, all 440 of you in the comments right now. I'm going to ask you a question. I want a response in the comments. Yes or no? Can we all agree that up until this point, under this McDaniel Greer regime, every move we made this offseason has been well thought out and strategic, whether it's Alec Ingold, whether it's Edmonds and Raheem Mostert, whether it's trading for Tyreek, whether it's Terran Armstead's money, Connor Williams. Can we all agree there has been a level of strategy and chess, not checkers, with every move? Can we all agree with that? Yes, yes, yes. Hell yeah, yes. Okay. So we can all agree. We're all in agreement. Hell yes. Okay, we're all in agreement. Why have they not added a third down back? Why have they not added the guy who's going to get you the yards on 3rd and 1? Why have they not added the guy that you use in the red zone to punch it in? And the running game is the thing they've been most conscious of. But why have they not been conscious of that? Tell me why they have not been conscious of that. Because you know who they're sniffing around right now. They're sniffing around Deebo. Dokes is not in the plans. Dokes is not an outside zone runner. Go to Mike McDaniel's offense last year. You think they want to line up? They're going to do it. But you think they want to line up Tyreek Hill 8-9 times in the backfield at his size? Nope. Nope. And you want to do that when there's a ton of field in front of you. You're not trying to do that inside the 5 or inside the 10. Hell, you're not trying to do that on 3rd and 1. You do that on a 2nd and short at like your own like 35, 40. And you try to eat up the big chunk of the field and get deep into their end. So why have they been so meticulous and so OCD with everything, but they haven't won that? And I'll go even further with that. 102, 125, 224, and 227 are our draft picks? 102, they're going to take linebacker, or they're going to take a guy like Alec Lindstrom. We need competition at center. What they've mentioned, McDaniel's mentioned it. Greer's mentioned it. Barry Jackson's mentioned it. I've told y'all it's coming. So that's going to be one of those 2 picks. We need another linebacker. Now, they may say, okay, we'll wait another year. But even if they say we'll wait another year, we need a punter. We don't have a punter on this roster. Like, taking that 3rd down back at 102, 125 when you don't pick till 224, that's a luxury pick that they're not going to make. And Deebo's cap hit this year is under $5 million. That's the thing here. And I'm gonna go into detail with you guys here, and we're gonna talk about it. But Cap for Life donates 10. He said, "Did Pat Riley care about draft picks when he built the big 3? No. F them picks." And Cap, go to what's going on with Ross right now. If those allegations are gonna get proved true with this memo, you think they're not gonna come after our draft picks? If they took a 1st and a 3rd for Deflategate, what do you think they're gonna take if they prove that we're trying to throw games here? Cap says, does Deebo equal Cordell Patterson? A better Cordell Patterson. Cordell Patterson on steroids. See, and here's the thing. And then people say to me, well, there's not enough ball to go around. Well, guess what? Gesicki won't be in the plans next year. They're going to let him walk, and Cordell Patterson is going to get 6 to 8 carries, and he's going to get 6 to 8 targets. That's what is going to happen. So it's not like you're going to be out here targeting him 12 or 14 times. You're only going to target him 4, 6, 8 times, but you're going to give him the football in the backfield 6 to 8 times as well. So you're still going to get him 14 to 18 touches a game. The ball's going to get in his hands. You know? Because you're going to need to give the ball to someone on those third down situations, on those red zone situations. You're not sending Chase Edmonds up the gut. You're not sending Gaskin, Ahmed. You're not sending any of those guys up the gut. You're just not. And, okay, so in checking in on the Deebo stuff, basically, listen, I've already told y'all what the deal was. Whether you're a Patreon or you're here, I've told y'all what the deal was. Okay, listen. We were in on Deebo. They wanted players. They wanted picks. KC gave Tyreek permission to seek a trade. They knew the rumblings about us and Deebo. They found out that players were involved. KC came around and said, we only want picks. That's when we pivoted to Tyreek. Now the problem is the toxicity level. Guys, I don't think you realize. I've been told, not what it is, but I've been told there's a disconnect between Kyle Shanahan and Deebo Samuel. And also, I want to also say this. Deebo Samuel is not looking to reset the market from what I've heard. From what I've heard, it's reasonable. We're not talking like 25, 30 million a year here. We're talking like 18 to $20 million a year range. Anyways, back to what I'm saying here. Like, if he were to come here. You know, with everything going on with Deebo right now, there's a disconnect going on with Kyle Shanahan. I'm going to tell you guys a story. Just to add context to what I'm telling you guys. Let me tell y'all a story. One of the people blowing up my phone today was EM Dolphin fan. All right? Just because he couldn't get a hold of me because I was busy today. And so I called him back and he joked around with me, whatever. Anyways, I'm just going to put things into perspective for you guys. All of you guys in the comment section that watch YouTube channels and, you know, go on Twitter and try to find out as much information. All of you people hungry for knowledge, all right? All you hungry for knowledge fans. EM's brothers are the same way, but they're 49ers fans, okay? EM's brother was blowing up his phone at 3 a.m. Central Time because he had just come from a 49ers stream that had on a reputable 49ers beat writer. And even the 49ers beat writer was out here basically saying they were name dropping us. Deebo wants out. Deebo wants being reunited with Mike McDaniel. It's going to happen. Listen, I've been trying to tell you guys. I've told people in spaces, and I think I've set it up here. What people don't realize is the production and the level of production he had last year was because of his bond with Mike McDaniel. He was with Mike McDaniel in between. Okay, so he would sit in with Mike McDaniel on like positional coach meetings and, you know, offensive coaching meetings and install meetings before the players got the installs. So the reason why he was sitting in was because in between all the meetings McDaniel would have, he would try to get in film work and pick his brain on how he could get better. That's eventually how he became such an integral part of the offense by midway through the season. They were like, hey, if he's sitting here through the whole time, use it to our advantage. That was the whole play. That's not going to happen right now in San Francisco. He doesn't. I've never heard of a player doing that with any offensive coordinator, let alone the new guy is not going to come in and say, yeah, Deebo, door's always open, sitting in all my meetings. They're going to be like, what the hell? Shout out to the watch, mister. Been out lately with a bad flu, but I'll be back like Jordan in the 4-5, baby. Go Fins. Appreciate you, watch, mister. Hopefully you win more than Jordan did wearing the 4-5. Go back to the 23 eventually, my friend, when you feel 100%. You know, so listen, I've been told he's going to be a Dolphin by 2023 if he's not traded for. You let me ask you another question, guys. We get while he's hanging out with Mike McDaniel. Someone answer me this. I want someone to answer me this. I want a good answer. And another thing I'm going to talk about. It is so known in circles, in NFL circles, that he wants to be reunited with Mike McDaniel. That's why the San Francisco 49ers are in a rock and a hard place. He's told them he does not want to resign. Okay? I've just given you why he's not going to give the level of production he did last year because McDaniel's gone, so they won't use the franchise tag on him. All right? There's a disconnect between him and Kyle Shanahan on top of all of this. We've got them right where we want them. Because you know what the fourth big one is? It's known in NFL league circles he wants to reunite with McDaniel. That's why teams aren't willing to give up massive assets for Deebo Samuel right now, because there is without an extension in place, because there is a belief that you're going to give up assets just for him to jettison to Miami in 2023. Why is he hanging around with Raekwon Davis? Someone explain to me why he's hanging around with Raekwon Davis. I don't get this. I get why he hung out with Mike McDaniel, but I'm going to explain why it doesn't make sense with Raekwon Davis. Did they both go to Alabama? No. Are they both in the same play the same position, so they'd be training with the same positional groups in Miami? No. What's a wide receiver / running back doing with a 3-tech? Someone explain this to me. And we've never seen this great friendship with them on Instagram before they showed up. Even Niner fans are preparing themselves right now. Even Niner beat reporters are preparing themselves. Deebo Samuel will not be a 49er in 2023. And I am like 90% sure he will be a Miami Dolphin. Now, obviously anything can happen in the next 365 days. But if next offseason was tomorrow, he would be a Miami Dolphin. You know what it is? I hate to drop the name, but we now have the Watson wide receiver situation minus the no trade clause. But his one hangover is I got 1 year left on my deal because you didn't draft me in the first round. And there's even rumblings he may hold out. Unless they seriously back up the Brinks truck and make him an offer, there's no way anyone who could refuse. I don't think so, man. You know, I've been pretty consistent the last couple weeks. If we don't trade for him, he will be a Dolphin by 2023. And that's just what I've been consistently told. And now I'm being told teams are privately hesitant to give up assets because his desire to be reunited with McDaniel isn't a secret. So, and obviously, what's the big news today? Why did this really catch fire? And why did I have to look into Deebo randomly again on a Wednesday? Well, that's just because of what he did on Instagram. If you guys weren't paying attention today, Deebo Samuel, he unfollowed the team and changed his profile picture to remove any team logo. He also deleted all team-related posts from his Instagram account. He's entering the final year of his contract and saw receivers such as Adams, Hill, and Diggs get paid handsomely, but it's bigger than that, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is bigger than that. There are more factors at play than money right now. That is my whole thing that I'm trying to tell you guys. It's more than other guys getting paid because I've heard he doesn't even plan to reset the market. That's the thing. I've heard he does not plan to reset the market. So, I don't know what else to say. I've been hearing about Deebo rampant privately since after we got Tyreek. I've done segments talking about Deebo here. I don't know what else to say. It's legitimate, but the question that really needs to be asked right now is who wants it more? Is it Deebo really wanting it and the Dolphins saying we can't make it work right now? Or is it Deebo really wants it, the Dolphins really want it, but they know he really wants it, so they're trying to press? Because, the other thing you got to think about is these picks moving forward with everything coming down the pipeline for Ross. Personally, I would be fine. You know what? I would give them their pick back next year, and we got 5 or 6 picks in the first 3 rounds, and I'd give them a third because we got 2 threes. I'd give them a third. I'd say I'll give you a first and a third because I got to extend him. Take it or leave it. The thing is, the one hangup is I know they want Byron Jones and I know they wanted Jerome Baker. So, and I could see us trying to move money, but we'll see. I personally think this is a 2023 move. If you gun to my head, reason does this happen? Would it shock me? No, but I don't think this is a move that will happen till the next offseason. That's what makes sense to me is next offseason. I don't think it happens. Now, this could get to toxic levels where they're like, yo, give us what we want. Give us enough and we'll just move them. Sure, let's go. But I'm telling you, the fact that McDaniel has not added a third down back and a guy in the red zone, and that's what Deebo was, and Tyreek, as much as a running back as he was in college, and his as much as explosive as he is now when they use him, he's more of a middle of the field, give the ball to in the backfield than inside the red zone, inside the 5, and on 3rd and 1. And yet we haven't added a guy, and yet they've been so meticulous. It's been nothing but chess, not checkers, with everything we've done, but they haven't added that. And you look at 102, 125, linebacker and center make the most sense there. So what, you're going to draft a third down guy at 224, 227? I don't know. I don't think that I don't see them tying that role and the dependency of that role to someone drafted that. Now, because I know we'll talk about who's coming, but there's a lot of guys who I don't think will be there by 102, including the guy that's coming and visiting tomorrow. So we'll see how it goes. I know we're expected to be over the cap a little bit next year, if I remember correctly. So they might want to roll over money. But guess what? Again, Deebo Samuel only has a $4.9 million cap hit this year. So you're not breaking the bank. You are not breaking the bank. Yeah, 224 and 247. You know what I mean? Like, well, what are we adding there? UDFAs, glorified UDFAs. Stop. Chris Cook I don't think James Cook will be there at 102. And James Cook isn't a third down back. James Cook, his best attribute is catching the football out of the backfield. James Cook was my running back 6, so I really like James Cook. But he is not a 3rd and 1 back. Like Sincere McCormick in the 200s is more of a third down back in the system than he is. But, Deebo Samuel, do I think it happens this year? It wouldn't shock me, but I am expecting it to happen next offseason. And guys, the smoke is real. That's all you really need to know at the end of the day. The smoke is real. Handle that however you want to handle it. The smoke is real. He wants to be here. McDaniel wants him here. But now, because the 49ers are so pressed, given off the reasons I've given you, the ball's in our court. We're not going to outbid ourselves and overpay with assets when we can just get him next year in the offseason. And we can backload the contract so he doesn't even affect us much next year either. So that's where they're at with Deebo Samuel. That's where they're at with Deebo Samuel. Continuing on, guys. We actually got a lot to go over here. A lot. Oh, man. I just spent 30 minutes talking about Deebo Samuel, but it's worth it. I'm telling you. It's legitimate right now. The smoke is legitimate. 49er fans and beat reporters are feeling it because it's legitimate, guys. Trust me. So, big news today, shocking news. Brian Flores claims he wrote a memo in 2019 memorializing Mr. Ross's desire to have Miami lose games per his attorneys. This is significant, said Adam Beasley. And he responded with this little quote because he amended his complaint. And basically it says, given these reactions and alarming demands to lose games, Mr. Flores memorialized Mr. Ross's desire to have Miami lose games in a December 4th, 2019 memorandum that was provided to General Manager Chris Greer, CEO Tom Garfinkel, and Senior Vice President of Football and Business Administration, Brandon Shore. In this letter, Mr. Flores detailed the toxicity that existed within the organization and explained the unreasonable position he was being placed in by the team ownership and upper management. Guys, I know people are trying to downplay this a little bit. This is very serious, okay? And I'm going to use this example, and I know it's players, but we've legitimately had videos of guys beating the crap out of their significant other and got 6 to 8 game suspensions. Calvin Ridley bets $1,000 and gets a year suspension when he didn't even use inside information, bet against his team or any of that stuff. He didn't Pete Rose it, and he gets a year-long suspension. Do you know why? Because it's not about the integrity of the game. It's about the new gambling deals. It's about the new sports betting deals that are coming down the pipeline. It's about lining the pockets of the owners. And that's why this is different. Because you could be affecting their pockets. See, Dan Snyder, I agree, should be removed. But the NFL has already shown you what they feel about allegations to those extent with A, making John Gruden a fall guy, and B, Deshaun Watson getting all that guaranteed money fresh off of those allegations. You know what I mean? So, and now you got apparently more women are flipping on to the guy. So, they've already shown you that W's and the bottom line come over these sexual allegations and all this jazz, whether it's an owner or a player. If the player can help us win or the owner is in place, whatever. But when it comes to lining their pockets, billionaires don't play that game. Remember? Y'all remember back in the day, Living Color, homie, don't play that? Well, that's exactly what this is. Homie, don't play that. And December 4th, 2019, if there is a digital timestamp, that's the issue you're running into now. That's the issue you're running into right now. So, listen. They're going to come down with some level. I'm going to tell you right now. And this could just be the start of it. Again, you got to read between the lines with the situation. Remember, when these allegations first hit, the NFL came out and said these are all unfounded, blah, 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 blah. 3 days pass. All of a sudden, they don't change on the racism and all the other allegations, but their stance does change on these allegations. What does that tell you? They know something. What if this is only the beginning? And again, now, why would he be writing this in December 4th, 2019? So this isn't good. An internal memo that would have circulated to those 3 guys is not good. So we'll see how this plays out. But man, at this rate, move the picks if we're really gonna have to. because they're going to levy some kind of punishment, even if, they're going to do something at the end of the day. Move the picks. Move the picks, man. Get the roster ready so if they want to come and take pictures in future from a future date, we're cool. We're set. I just don't trust this situation and how it's going. If this is just the beginning, I don't want to hear anything about it, man. Just move the picks. So, another interesting thing regarding it is actually this little interesting tidbit. The Dolphins, they're holding back money. The Dolphins are actually declining to pay Brian Flores 8 figures of severance and want him to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars according to his amended complaint as well. Because remember, what we just saw, the Memo stuff, is he amended his complaint. And one of the new amendments is also this. He's claiming that they don't want to give him the severance money, and they're actually asking him to repay a bunch of money. Well, actually, Ronnie, Ronnie, I know you've been watching me for a while. Have I not always been actually a proponent of being aggressive in the draft with picks, moving up and using them? One of the things I kind of held against that Brian Flores, Chris Greer regime was we sat on our picks too much. We stockpiled them when we could have moved up for blue chip guys or whatever the case may be. So I thought we actually sat on our picks too much. I actually like the aggressive approach. But, you look at this right now, it's just going to continue to get ugly. It's going to continue to just be a headache. Even with this guy out of the building, the drama, the distractions can't go away. Like, just move on with your freaking life, bro. Jesus Christ. Like, your complaint was fine the way it was. Move forward with it. It's like new drama every turn, man. Like, just let that process play out so we can all move on with our lives already. Man, it was one thing after another. If it wasn't X, it was Watson. And now if it wasn't Watson, it was this stuff. Man, that regime was just nothing but freaking drama, dude. It was like a high school regime. I'm so glad it's over with and that it's, you got guys out here saying we're happy to come to work. Totally different vibes, totally different energy. I'm done with this drama stuff, man. I just want to be a Dolphins fan and enjoy covering the team and enjoy watching the game. Not coming out here and saying these are the days of our Dolphin lives. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Like, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, we put up with enough drama for the last 3 years in this regime, whether it was people claiming we were throwing games against like the Steelers in 2019, whether it was the Watson stuff, whether it was the Fitz Tua stuff. Like, it's just been nothing, the X stuff. It's just been nothing but drama, man. Like, I'm just ready for a new era and a new regime where we can just enjoy being fans and enjoy the team. And God help us. Jeez, I just want it to be over with. All of that. Like, I just want that regime and that era to be wiped clean from the slate. Like, people out here, well, we had 2, winning seasons. Bro, there's no trophy for having a winning record and not making the playoffs. I don't want to hear that garbage. We had crap for so long that people are okay with mediocrity. That's exactly what we were in the Tannehill era. 8-8, 9-7, blah, 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 blah. Bro, I'm trying to build a sustainable winner here. And it looks like right now the McDaniel Greer regime is more on track to build a sustainable winner for at least the next 4 years. Thank you very much. Just tired. I just want to move on with that part of my life. It's over. It's done with. I want it to go away. This is like a bad ex that doesn't stop calling you. Like, just was like, you got to put a restraining order on the broad. That's exactly what this is turning into, man. Unreal. All right. Just finally on it too. Here's just what Hal Habib had to say. According to an amended complaint filed by Flores' lawyers against the NFL and the Dolphins on Thursday, Flores went so far as to send a memorandum to Dolphins executives on December 4th, 2019, explaining the unreasonable position he was being placed in by the ownership and upper management. Flores alleges that Ross was so concerned with enhancing the team's draft position for the spring of 2020 that he offered $100,000 per game for per loss in a bribe sense to Flores. Ross denies the charge, calling it an affront to his integrity. And in a photograph taken moments after key victory in question, both Ross and Flores are seen smiling while shaking hands. The NFL has hired Mary Jo White to investigate what Commissioner Roger Goodell considers a disturbing accusation against the integrity of the game. See, they didn't say disturbing about the racism stuff. They didn't say disturbing about anything else, but they're saying disturbing about this. I'm telling you, that's what's got me worried a little bit here. The 2019 season was Flores' first, and although it began with 7 consecutive losses with a ragtag roster, the Dolphins made it through November with a 2022 record, setting the stage for what may have been a boiling point. The Eagles, 2 years removed from winning the Super Bowl, came to town as a 10.5-point favorite, not the first time the Dolphins were double-digit underdogs that year. Things appeared to be going according to plan as the Eagles took a 10-0 lead, but a 43-yard touchdown pass from Fitzpatrick to Devontae Parker awakened Hard Rock. Then late in the first half, it happened. One of the wackiest, most memorable plays in Dolphins history, which not only triggered a 37-31 upset, but also served to upset Dolphins brass if Flores' accusations are to be believed. The Dolphins faced a 4th and goal on the 1 when they lined up in a field goal formation, then drastically shifted so that only long snapper and holder Matt Hawk remained in the center of the field. Hawk took the snap and, grinning as he released a pass, hit kicker Jason Sanders for a 1-yard touchdown on a play called Mountaineer Shot. Sanders became the first kicker to catch a touchdown pass since 1977 and later was named the league's top play that year. Danny Crossman, the special teams coordinator then and now, put it, you play the game to win the game, Crossman said. Borrowing from Herm Edwards. We're at the point this season where we don't have much to lose. Senator Daniel Kilgore said that day, so why not take a shot? Joe Burrow, that's why ever since every Dolphins win diminished the chance of Miami landing the LSU quarterback. The Dolphins would go on to finish this season 5-11 and draft Tua Tagovailoa 5th overall, 4 spots after the Bengals draft Burrow, who took them into this year's Super Bowl. But according to the amended lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court in New York, as the Dolphins regathered the Wednesday after the Eagles game to start preparations for a road game against the Jets, Flores sent a memorandum to General Manager Chris Greer, CEO, President, Vice Chairman Tom Garfinkel, and Senior Vice President Brandon Shore. In this letter, Brian Flores detailed the toxicity that existed within the organization, explained the unreasonable position it was being placed by the team, ownership, and upper management. I need to see this memo. The discrimination suit also adds coaches Steve Wilkes and Ray Horton as Flores' co-plaintiffs. Publicly, Flores was making no apologies for going all out to win that year. In an October game at Pittsburgh, he allowed the Dolphins to run a 0 blitz with no safety help over the top. On a 3rd and 20 play, it backfired badly, resulting in a 45-yard touchdown pass that was widely criticized, even though Flores would have none of it. I'm not going to second guess that one, he said. If you're going to win in this league, you got to be aggressive, period. That's my style. I'm not going to play conservative. That's always been kind of my MO, so that's not going to change. There's more. Despite having pulled off the Mountaineer shot, Flores opened the second half versus Philly with an onside kick, which failed. He tried to fake punt against Cleveland and another against Washington. There was a flea flicker versus Dallas. Any of that sound like a coach deep in the tank? If we feel like we have something we think will work, we're probably going to run it, Flores says. Flores was fired immediately after the 2021 season, but just like that day against the Eagles, he's still firing shots. Yep. So, I mean, his whole stance is, they're telling me to tank, but I was being aggressive. I wanted to win. I was playing for the integrity of the game. Listen, we know owners in the past, present, and in the future are going to offer people money to lose games so they can get a quarterback in the draft, etc. It happens. It's always happened, whatever. The thing we're at here right now, though, is, it obviously wasn't that toxic of an environment if you remained for 2 more years, and you would have stayed there for another year. Now, I get it on the other sense of, hey, he might think I might not get another chance like this, et cetera, et cetera. They might smear me if I resign, all that good stuff. But, it just comes down to today here. This is my stance on it. I've said this before. I believe a lot of what Greer is alleging in his whole suit, not just the Dolphin specific stuff, this whole suit. But here's the thing. I also believe Brian Flores was a grade A asshole behind the scenes. I also believe Flores created a toxic work environment. Both could be true. Flores can be an asshole, and the allegations can be true. That's actually pretty much my stance. That's my take. I was hearing about Flores stuff well before stuff was coming to the media. I was telling you guys this stuff last offseason, and people were pushing back on me. Now you've seen how it's turned out. I believe Flores is an asshole, but I also believe a lot of the stuff that he's alleging. That's where I land. Each to their own. Okay? Everyone's got the right to their opinion, right? This whole situation is subjective because we're not reading the documents. We're not the attorneys. We're not the judge. We're not the jury. We're not any of that stuff. We aren't privy and we don't have access to all the information these people have access to. So right now, everyone's opinion is just subjective on this, or they can try to be as objective as possible. But at the end of the day, it's subjective because we don't have all the info here. So it is what it is. That's I think Flores was an asshole. Do I believe Ross asked him to throw games? Sure. Ross wants to win. Is it wrong? Sure. Do I blame Ross? No, because I want to win that badly too. If I had $100,000 to offer Brian Flores to lose each game in the season so we could assure all these draft picks and we could win a Super Bowl, yeah, I'd offer him that money. So sue me. Is what it is. I don't know what else to say. So I'm not gonna drag Ross through the streets. He wanted to win. Same reason why he brought Tom Brady in before we even drafted a quarterback, allegedly. If he allegedly brought in Tom Brady for a yacht meeting before we even hit the draft, show me where Ross is so I can shake his hand. Sure, it's wrong with tampering, but the guy's trying to get the quarterback position solved so we can use all our. We could have drafted Tristan Wirfs at 5. Or we could have drafted, any of those. We could have drafted Mekhi Becton, which I wouldn't have done in the draft. But we could have drafted Jared. We could have drafted Jarek Willis. Could have gone at 5. So he's giving us options. I ain't gonna hate on the guy, and the guy's a proven Super Bowl winner. I'm not hating. It is what it is. He wants to win. And now Flo just mad because he's over here seeing they kept the defense intact. The staff you put together, they upgraded a little bit by adding Surtain and Madison. Then they turn around and upgraded the offense in a sense it would have never been upgraded in under your regime. And now you're bitter because you're not going to be here for the ride. Well, guess what, Flores? If you would have been here, there wouldn't have been a ride to have with the offense we're putting together anyways. Hate to be the one to tell you it. And you would have ran X out of town. So y'all were ready under Flores. They were ready to choose X over Byron. McDaniel comes into town, and all of a sudden we're ready to choose. Sorry, they were ready to choose Byron over X. All of a sudden McDaniel comes into town. We're choosing X over Byron. Sounds to me like the new people coming into town got it right. Flores just wanted to keep one of his homeboys and his teacher's pets around. So there is a big meeting tomorrow happening, and the reason why, and I'll explain to you guys why. James Cook, running back 6 on my big board, is actually going to be coming in, meeting and working out with the Dolphins at the facilities tomorrow. Because if you guys didn't know, what they're doing and what every major basically city can do here is you are allowed to bring in local talent, whether they grew up in the area or whether they went to college and high school in the area. You can bring them in for basically free workouts and tryouts that don't count against really your draft visits. So James Cook is going to be coming in tomorrow. I think he's a perfect fit to the scheme. The only thing is, do we, I don't know if we really, we need more of a Devontae Price if we're going for a local guy. Then we need a James Cook. But hey, I'll never say no to adding a potential game breaker to the backfield. I love James Cook. I love what he brings to the table. Perfect for this offense. I love Cook, running back 6 for me, if you guys remember correctly. So, hey, I ain't hating. So, you gotta like it, man. I've been saying that I felt like they were gonna add a running back in, in the 3rd or 4th round. Third, fourth, 5th round. I've been saying that consistently. Didn't think it was still on the table. After the trade for Tyreek, I still think they would address center and inside linebacker. But if a guy like James Cook is still on the board at 102, I don't expect him to be, but if he's there, man, that's a legitimate playmaker. Pro Football Talk, they continue the narrative that Tom Brady was really close to officially joining the Miami Dolphins. When they said when Tom Brady retired on February 1st, his next move already was coming into focus. Per multiple sources, Brady eventually would have been introduced as a minority owner for the Miami Dolphins. The announcement would have been made as soon as the following week, which was the week that preceded the Super Bowl. When we reported on February 28th that the Dolphins had planned to pursue a Sean Payton-Tom Brady package deal, the Dolphins privately acknowledged that they had contacted the Saints about the possibility of hiring Sean Payton. As to Brady, the Dolphins privately acknowledged that there had been discussions about Brady becoming a minority owner of the team. Then came the Brian Flores lawsuit, filed coincidentally or not the same day Brady retired. The litigation resulted in the plug being pulled on the Peyton Brady plan. Just like, as I've told y'all, I can 110% confirm the Sunday before the Brian Flores allegations hit, Harbaugh from Michigan believed himself from his own mouth that he was in play for the job. And when the allegations hit, he was out because the whole Minnesota visit, that was all leverage to get Harbaugh out of Michigan without Ross taking him from Michigan. Oh, Minnesota's going to take him. I had to swoop in. That's what the whole play was. That's why nothing came of the visit when Harbaugh went there. After Brady became a minority owner, the Dolphins would have indeed acquired the contractual rights to employ Peyton from the Saints. Then the Dolphins would have at some point gotten the rights from the Buccaneers to bring Brady to the roster. Even though it didn't happen, it's an important consideration because Brady will continue to hover as a potential addition to the Dolphins. He has a close personal relationship with Bruce Beal, the right-hand man and successor in waiting to Dolphins owner Stephen Ross. So basically, if you do the simple little paper trail, the Ross meeting with Brady that Ross wanted Flores to be a part of, clearly Bruce Beal set it up. With Brady under contract for one more season in Tampa Bay and his deal containing a no-tag clause, Brady will be a free agent in 2023. He will be able to sign with any team he chooses. Could he retire after 2022? Possibly, but that possibility becomes less significant if we regard his 2022 retirement for what it was. It wasn't retirement from football, but an attempted retirement from the Buccaneers. When the Miami possibility imploded and nothing materialized in San Francisco, his only option was to play for the Bucs in 2022. Next year, he'll have plenty of options, including becoming the next quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. Unless Tua Tagovailoa, under the tutelage of a coach Mike McDaniel, becomes the guy the team expected when they drafted him at 5th overall, which I think he's going to get to that level, man. I think Tua is going to give us top 12 play in the NFL this year. I really, truly do believe that. I really do. Another thing too, guys, and it's obviously just a minor deal because no terms came out for us. A nice little depth piece was kept. The Dolphins did re-sign John Jenkins. Good stuff, man. He was awesome last year in rotations. Made plays when they presented themselves. I'm a fan of it. Again, keeping that defense intact from the depth guys to the starters. Let's go. Let's go, man. I love it. I'm a big fan of what we've continued to do under this regime. Super excited. Man, I can't wait for September to get here. And I know we still got the draft, but 102 and 125 are hard to get hyped unless I know my boy Matt Arise is coming. Guys, another player threw shade. I know we talked yesterday about X and Ogba throwing shade at Brian Flores. Well, more shade was in fact thrown his way. This time by Lynn Bowden saying, "Can't let nobody ego take my happiness again. I'm working." And we all know, I've told you guys what the issue was. Lynn Bowden got reprimanded for that article last year that came out detailing the inner ongoings between him and the Raiders, but also he got reprimanded for when he got that soft tissue injury because he had been working out with Perform for a couple of years and a couple of weeks, sorry. And as I've told you guys, Nick Hicks and Brian Flores had a pretty tumultuous relationship. Brian Flores was just straight up a dick to Nick. Nick did nothing wrong. He was just a straight up dick. And Lynn Bowden, that's why he was held out and put on IR. It wasn't to stash him last year. It was, you should have been training at our facility. That's why this injury happened, blah, 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 when Nick had only been working out with him for 2 weeks. So that's clearly more shade thrown the way of ex-coach Brian Flores. And I don't blame Lynn Bowden. I think Lynn Bowden's going to have a big year. And, I think he's another reason why they moved off DVP. They don't want DVP taking snaps. Lynn Bowden's our wide receiver 4 right now behind Tyreek Waddle and Cedric Wilson. It's Bowden's the guy. And then you add in Gesicki to the mix. He's in our top 5 pass catchers right now. So let's go. More. And we all know what what did Ogba, what did X continuously talk about yesterday? Being happy coming to work. Talking about the happiness, the atmosphere. Again, can't let nobody take my happiness again. Here we go. Go get him, Lynn Bowden. He's gonna have a big year this year. I think he's gonna have a big year this year. Last year I thought it was too convoluted with bodies, and then obviously what happened. This year, Lynn Bowden gonna take that step, and with the work he's been putting in with Tua, Lynn Bowden about to have a year. Lynn Bowden about to have a year. You best believe that. Little 6-pack of notes regarding the Dolphins from Barry Jackson tonight. The Dolphins have only 4 draft picks, none in the top 100, but they're still making good use of their 30 permitted pre-draft visits. Baylor safety JT Woods is among the draft prospects who's been flown to the Dolphins headquarters to meet with team officials, according to a source. Woods played 4 years at Baylor and had 3 interceptions in 2020. Remember yesterday we talked about they were starting to bring people in, right? So Zion Gilbert was brought in. Cole Strange was brought in. So here's some more names coming out. He had 3 interceptions in 2020 and 5 in 2021. It's questionable whether he'd be available at 102. Lance Zierlein of NFL.com assessed him as a long levered safety with excellent top end speed and the potential to become a rangy playmaker if he can play better with better overall discipline. If he can play with better decisiveness, he has the length, burst, and striking power to impact catch tries and take the ball away. Woods' tools are likely to make him a day 2 pick, but he'll need to prove his run support and tackle finishing are functional at the next level for the pro game. The 6'2 safety ran a 4.36 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. He's considered a high character player. The Dolphins have 4 picks in the draft: 102, 125, 224, and 247. They will likely sign several UDFAs as well. Under NFL rules, team can invite up to 30 draft prospects to their offices for meetings, medical checks, and blackboard work, but they are not permitted to work out during those visits. During Chris Grier's tenure as general manager, the Dolphins draft picks have been a mix of players who have visited team headquarters and some who have not. The Dolphins, like many teams, never announced their 30 visits. Georgia running back and former Miami Central standout James Cook will work out at Dolphins headquarters on Friday as part of the team's annual local day. See, local talent. That's why he's coming. According to his agents, Eric Doan and Matt Leist, the NFL allows teams to invite players who attended high school or college in their market or close by to work out for the team in the weeks before the draft. Cook ran for 1,503 yards on 6.5 yards per carry, caught 67 passes for 730 yards, a 10.9 yard per average in 4 years for the Bulldogs. He rushed for 728 yards on 6.4 per carry for Georgia's national championship team this year. Zerline's assessment of Cook on NFL.com: he's a change of pace runner with vision and flow, but a lack of functional play strength. Again, this is what I'm telling you. He's not a third down back. I already told you all this in my evaluation of him, why he was RB6. So I don't even got to read Lance Zerline's assessment. His ability to thrive in an outside zone scheme would make him a good fit with the Dolphins, which I've told you guys. Other running backs will work out for the Dolphins on Friday, including Devontae Price, who I like. That's your third down guy, and UM's Cameron Harris. Beyond Cook, some of the non-UM and non-FIU players expected to audition for the Dolphins at their local day on Friday include Washington State receiver Calvin Jackson Jr., Northern Illinois linebacker uh, Lance DeVoe Jr., and FAU tight end Zaire Mitchell Patton. Jackson, who attended Coral Springs Charter School, is the son of former Dolphins defensive back Calvin Jackson, who died last March at 49. There you go. DeVoe, he attended St. Thomas Aquinas. And one Dolphins player uh, relayed positive feedback about the first week of the team's offseason program, noting players like the offense and the terminology is simpler. As several players have said publicly, Mike McDaniel strikes players as smart and likable. The first 2 weeks of the offseason program, which began Monday for the Dolphins, is limited to meeting strength and conditioning and physical rehabilitation. Xavien Howard was pleased to see the Dolphins hire former Dolphins Pro Bowl cornerback Sam Madison and Pat Surtain. He said, I love that, especially a couple guys that played in the league. They're Miami greats. I feel like they're the Miami Dolphins greats. Just learning from the guys and picking from their brains, I feel like they can help me get my game to another level. Baby, Xavien Howard. Oh man, I want to win a Super Bowl for Xavien Howard. I want a bust of his head, pause, in Canton. I want that man in a gold jacket. I want a Super Bowl for Xavien Howard because I know he's going to retire probably at the end of his 5 years deal. And I want him to retire a Dolphin, man. And I want him to retire and go into the Hall. Because I'm sorry, he is the best corner in the last 15 years. ESPN's obsession with Tua Tagovailoa continued on Thursday. Though regular host Mike Greenberg was off, First Take spent a segment assessing Tagovailoa for the fourth time in 2 weeks. Chris Canty, the former NFL defensive end, said Tua has to prove he can lead the Dolphins to being a better team than third in his division. I can't give Chris Grier too much credit because this guy passed on Justin Herbert. If Tua doesn't prove to be the guy, the Dolphins are not only going to be in the market for quarterback in 2023, they're probably going to be market for the general manager too. Grier has eliminated all the excuses as to why Tua can't have success. The head coach that doesn't believe in you wants to replace you. We got rid of him. We got the number one receiver in Tyreek Hill, paid him $30 million a year, spent big money on Armstead and Connor Williams in free agency, not to mention signing Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds. Bro, if you can't get it done with that squad, then you're just not the guy. If you had to keep asking the question on whether he's not the guy or not, you're going to eventually land on the answer being no. During that segment, former NFL linebacker Sam Ocho said, I love how Chris Grier has maneuvered this offseason. Listen, we all know this is do or die for Tua this year, okay? It would have been do or die for any quarterback in this position because I've always said since 2019, before we even drafted Tua, by year 3, you find out who a player is, especially at that position, whether, their deficiencies are, if they're not showing progress every year and their deficiencies remain glaring and remain the same from years prior, if they have injury and durability concerns all 3 years, it's going to probably stick around. 3 years, by the end of 3 years is telling because, before they went to 17 games, that's 48 games, right? Now, if you look at it, that's 50 games because 16 year 1, 17 and 17. Now, he's not going to play 50 games by the end of this year, but we're going to have a very good sample size of we'll be able to understand what Tua is and where his ceiling is. The issue and the remaining outlier of why he's stuck around is because we don't know what his ceiling is because he hasn't been in a position, a successful position enough for us to gauge what his ceiling is. Now, we've been able to gauge what his floor is, but we can't gauge what his ceiling is. We know he's shown he can be a competent NFL starter. Now we want to see if that ceiling of can you be a top 10, top 12 guy in the NFL and lead your team to victories and be a difference maker. Now we've put the pieces around personnel wise and staff wise to see if he is that or not. And I think we'll have a good idea because, year 3, even though he wasn't in this offense and with his personnel, with his staff, he's seen defenses enough. He's been in the mud. He's been in the trenches. He has a feel of the game speed. We're going to get a lot of answers this year, and I believe he's going to take that step and he's going to give us top 12 play, because I think last year in November, that 4-game stretch, 3.5-game stretch, he gave us top 15 play in the NFL, and that was with no weapons other than Waddle, because Gesicki just disappeared during the Ravens game, bad protection, and a bad coaching staff, and a head coach that didn't believe in you. And then finally, guys, something interesting for all of you. Speaking of Xavien Howard earlier, guys, is Xavien Howard going back to number 4? Is Xavien Howard moving off 25? Remember, he wore 4 in Baylor. So this is from Xavien Howard's Instagram. This is his story. He's got a thinking emoji. I know a lot of y'all might have an Xavien Howard jersey, but it looks like he might be going back to the old Baylor threads, might be going back to number 4. Something to keep an eye on. Interesting little note to end the show on tonight, too. Xavien Howard potentially going from 25 to number 4. Remember, 4 was his number in Baylor. So, little interesting thing. He's putting it out there that he might be making a number change this year. So, we'll see how that all works out and how that all ends up. Guys, like I said, be on the lookout tomorrow for the finish line, the latest episode with me, Mr. Ballgame and Richmond Webb. We talked about DVP. We talked about Xavien Howard. We talked about Brian Flores and this whole memorandum thing. We just it was a good show. It'll be only about 40 minutes of your time. The link is down low. Just go find it on dolphinstalk.com. You can literally just search the finish line on Spotify, Apple, whatever your streaming platform is. It's finish line with a PH, PHINISH, line, LINE. Go check it out. The finish line. We do a great show. I'm actually, after this, about to go record the newest episode of Fin Too Deep with Neil Driscoll. So we'll be talking about Deebo. Me and Neil will be talking about DVPX and a whole bunch of other stuff. The link to me and Neil's podcast is also below. You can find that in the description. Guys, just do me a favor, smash that like button. There's still 620 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. I appreciate each and every one of you spending some of your Thursday night with me. Tomorrow is Friday. Guys, I know I kind of added more fuel to the fire with what I told all of y'all about Deebo. I'm just telling y'all what I've been hearing, and I'm being consistent. Some of that stuff that I've told you, you guys have already heard. Some of the new stuff I've told you, like teams being hesitant because it's known in NFL circles he wants to be a Miami Dolphin. That's some new stuff. But I'm going to keep digging on Deebo. Hopefully I can find out some more stuff for you guys. I'm planning to come back tomorrow night for you guys. And then next week, we're going to be dropping, of course, the center big board. Ryan Roberts from Horizon Draft is going to be on the show next Thursday. We're going to be deep diving, obviously, into the Dolphins draft. We're going to be talking about the draft in general. And I want to get his thoughts on the Dolphins offseason, because if you guys know, Ryan Roberts' father is a massive, massive Dolphins fan. So we'll be picking Ryan Roberts' brain next week when it comes to the draft. So be on the lookout for that. So we got a lot of content coming. And then after we get out of draft season, I'm going to be dropping Tyreek Hill film study, a Terran Armstead film study, and I'm going to be dropping a Jalen Waddle year in review film study. So a lot of content coming for y'all guys from Phinside the NFL. And the rebrand's coming, guys. Be out on the lookout. That is going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. You guys are going to log into Twitter, and bam, it's going to slap you in the face out of nowhere, like Will Smith to Chris Rock. All right, guys. I will see all of y'all tomorrow. Until next time, as always, fins up all day, every day. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed.